Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Many of us felt that by midday Friday we would be announcing Alexis Sanchez and he would be making his debut against Burnley. But what did I tell you? I've told you this so many times. Matthew McFadden said it as well. Alexis Sanchez will not sign for Manchester United until the United Stand has hit 180,000 subscribers. And we're still 250 short. So it looks like that is going to be a true fact. Well done, Matthew. But joking apart, I must say to start off with, there's a lot... I think the saddest thing about this is the excitement is just draining from what is, and we need to get it back because he will sign, but the excitement has been drained out of this deal. We pretty much knew from Sunday that this was on, and we are now on Friday and we are no closer to the official announcement, and it is draining the excitement out of it. And that is the saddest thing about this, because the statement of Manchester United signing Alexis Sanchez is huge. And unfortunately, the club, Mourinho and the fans, we're not going to get that big moment that we would have got if it had just been done on Monday, because it's been sucked out of it. Why is it being sucked out of it? Because we're letting Arsenal have too much say in this. Arsenal are the club that, you know, I think we're bending over backwards for Arsenal because we think they're doing us a big favour, and they're not. The power is with Alexis Sanchez. He is free in May, and Arsenal get nothing in May. We need to be a bit harder on this deal. We need to be harder. We need to be, look, that's your deal. Take it or leave it, because if you don't, Sanchez will come for free in May, and that's what's going to happen. See you later. Sanchez clearly wants to come to United. We know what the deal is with Sanchez because that came out on Wednesday, the figures. We know from Sunday that Sanchez wants to come to United and United want him. If we just paid 30 million, he could have signed on Monday. We're now at Friday lunchtime, and the reason it's not being signed is because, oh, Arsenal, well, you know, we're taking a massive L with our fans again, so we really want to offer them some fake good news to make them not really think about the fact that we're selling our best player. And that's what it is. And United, for some reason, are allowing this to happen. Now, if Arsenal are just playing hardball saying, you're not having Sanchez unless we get a player in return, well, we can play hardball back. Sanchez can just pretend he's got a bad hamstring and not play for them for the rest of the season, and we'll get him in May. We're gonna, you know, the reality is, of course, we want Sanchez to sign before the end of the month, and he will sign before the end of the month. But we're playing Burnley away tomorrow without him. We should have him. So if we're going to say, oh, we don't need Sanchez for Burnley, well, do we need Sanchez till the summer? You know, Burnley is a tough game tomorrow. If we don't win it, we're always going to go, would Sanchez have made a difference? And he's fit, and he should be part of the United team for the Burnley game tomorrow. And why he isn't, we're not 100% sure. There are certain rumours that Arsenal want 12 million plus Mkhitaryan now instead of the straight swap that we've heard. But it's, you know, it is the saddest thing out of all of it is the excitement's being drained out of the deal because it's being held up, and we are 1 minute away from the midday deadline for him to play in the game tomorrow. So that's not going to happen. It is not happening. Mkhitaryan will not make his debut against Burnley tomorrow. A lot of people, I mean, Nitan says, I think the deal is off. I don't think the deal's off at all. I still think, you know, the deal's off today in relation for him playing against Burnley tomorrow. The deal could still be announced later on tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. You know, and I've got to say, I am totally relaxed that Alexis Sanchez will still sign for Manchester United. Because, as we said on Sunday, as we've said all week, Alexis Sanchez and Manchester United, that deal is done. That part of the deal is done. I don't know whether people understand transfers, your United Stand viewers, so I'm pretty sure you will do. But the deal between United and Sanchez is done. That needs to be done in the first place. You don't go further down the road of a deal if the player doesn't want to come to you. So United and Sanchez, that part of the deal is done, and that's been done since Sunday. What we've been waiting all week for is what it is that Arsenal want for the deal. Now, we could have given 30 million. And then it's, you know, see you later, Sanchez comes to us. But there's this Mkhitaryan thing. Swap deals are bad deals because there's too many people with their fingers in the pie, wanting the pie. And Mini Raiola likes a big piece of the pie, as we know, and he's agent Mkhitaryan. You've then got Arsenal want Aubameyang. And I think, to be honest with you, as I said, I think we are bending over backwards for Arsenal, because I think what Arsenal have said is, look, you can have Sanchez, but we don't want it to be announced until we've got Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan lined up. Because we've seen the Arsenal fans on Twitter, oh, if somebody had offered us Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang for Sanchez, we'd have took it. We're getting the best deal. And I'm sorry, respect Mkhitaryan is something I said a couple of days ago, and we should respect him. I don't really agree with calling him names and everything like that. But the reality is, Arsenal are getting excited about getting a United reject, and Mkhitaryan is a United reject. I know some of you want him to stay, I know some of you passionately want him to go, but the bottom line is, he is a United reject. He has been Absolutely abysmal this season, and he deserves to be kicked out of the club for his form. It's nothing personal. I said at the start of the month, we've got to be ruthless who we get rid of, and we've got to be aggressive in who we bring in if we want to close the gap on Manchester City. Getting rid of Mkhitaryan is ruthless. He is not good enough. Bringing Alexis Sanchez in, Arsenal's best player and one of the best players in the league, is aggressive. So applause to Manchester United. They are doing what they need to do. And those United fans who are out there, oh, I feel sorry for Mickey, oh, I still think he can turn it round. If I'm blunt as Mark Goldbridge, I'm sorry, I disagree with all of you, and I think you are labouring, and maybe it's the last few years have put you in that mindset of a team that finishes fourth. I want to support a team that's going to finish first, because that's what I'm used to. And teams that finish first don't have Fellaini, Mkhitaryan in the starting 11. They don't even have him on the bench. And that's what I mean about aggressive. We need to get better. And Alexis Sanchez will make us a hell of a lot better. And I can't wait for him to sign. And I really wanted him to be playing tomorrow. It's not going to happen. But swap deals are bad deals. And that is the thing that irritates me more than anything, is that we could have just done this deal at the start of the week. We're not... The problem is not Alexis Sanchez and Manchester United. That's sorted. You know, if it was still we're trying to sort out Alexis Sanchez's wages or anything like that, then you'd have to be a little bit more patient. But we know the Sanchez and the United aspect of the deal is done. We know it. And what is holding it up? Arsenal, Mkhitaryan, Raiola, Aubameyang, whatever it is, we're playing Arsenal's tune. And I don't like that. We're not. We shouldn't be doing that. And you know what? We've got the Burnley preview tonight at 8 o'clock, and we'll be talking more about this because we'll have Mourinho's press conference to react to as well. But the bottom line is that Burnley tomorrow is a tough game, and we are not going into it with a play. Well, we're going into it. We've not had Alexis Sanchez all season, so the team should be good enough to get the result. But we'd be greatly enhanced if we didn't have it. So yeah, it is disappointing, but I think the biggest thing, as I would say, is it's just the fact that it's dragging on so long, and when it drags on, you lose that excitement for a deal, which I must just reiterate, this deal is absolutely huge for Manchester United. It's a huge statement. Manchester City wanted him. You know, Fernandinho signed a new contract at Manchester City today. I wonder how much he's being paid over the next 3 years or anything like that. Of course, it's not news. It's not news because it's Manchester City. And the reason Alexis Sanchez wants to come to Manchester United is because we are a massive club with a massive history, with a massive fan base. And Manchester City are an empty club with no fan base, no history, and a manager who basically has won everything by cheating. I mean, cheating's a strong word, but what I mean is he's never had a challenge. I mean, there was a comment, I think, from Neil Ashton today saying that, you know, Alexis Sanchez is choosing money over football and what he can achieve with Pep Guardiola. What nonsense. What absolute nonsense. Pep Guardiola's not really achieved anything in football properly. He's done it with an open checkbook and great players. And he benched Alexis Sanchez anyway. Why such a delay? Look, the next stage for Manchester United is going to be Jose Mourinho's press conference at 1:30 PM. So an hour and a half, we'll get an update from Jose. My prediction is this. Mkhitaryan is still a part of the team and could feature tomorrow against Burnley. Nothing to say about the Alexis Sanchez deal at the moment because it's still ongoing. Yes, it can happen, but yes, it can't happen. Same old stuff. I don't expect anything else. But Alexis Sanchez is at Arsenal at the moment, training or something. Mkhitaryan is at United at the moment, training or something. So even if they got their skates on and got a private jet to do medicals, it would take one hell of a push for it to get done tonight. It looks to me like it could be a weekend deal, potentially even pushing into Monday. But what I must reiterate is that this deal with Alexis Sanchez, I am still 100% confident that it's going to happen. Can it fall apart is what somebody's just said there. Look, we've reported all week. James Smith says we won't get him, Mark. James, I believe we will. We've been saying all week that the deal between Manchester United and Alexis Sanchez is done. Because it is done. Now, can it fall apart? Can it fall apart? Yes, it can. It won't, but it can. It can fall apart for a couple of reasons. Manchester United and Alexis Sanchez, that part of the deal, part's done. We've been saying that all week. But Arsenal could stop the deal. They could stop it, and they'll lose him for nothing in May. I don't think they'll do that. United and Sanchez could stop the deal and say, wait till May, we'll get you for free. Might happen. Mkhitaryan can stop the deal by saying, I'm not going, but I do want to spend a couple of minutes talking about Mkhitaryan, and I really want to get... I'm just going to say it to those people who are watching live, and if you're not watching live, do comment below and join the debate. But I want to know what people think about the Mkhitaryan situation, because all I can say is that it's irritating me. It's irritating me seeing him at training, and it's not really... He is a symbol of irritation, but it's not his fault. When you see him rolling up to training at 10 o'clock in the morning in his car going like that, it feels like he's going like that because... But it's not his fault. He probably doesn't want to leave Manchester United, and he's being forced out. Through his own fault, he's not played well enough, and I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't see him turning this round. He will have to leave Manchester United. It's just when, and I thought it would be the summer. So that's his fault. But him turning up to training each morning is a symbol of irritation for United fans. And I'm just explaining to the people who like Mkhitaryan why. It's not really about Mkhitaryan, it's what he symbolises. When he rolls up to training at 10 o'clock, we know that deal for Sanchez isn't happening because we know Mkhitaryan is part of that deal. So when he rolls up to training smiling like that, it's a big up yours to those United fans who were hoping this Sanchez deal was going to happen. And he is the symbol of why it's not happening. It's not personally his fault. I don't agree with people picking on Mkhitaryan about it because he's got an agent, Arsenal, everything involved. But he does symbolise it every time we see him at United. And I think that's why United fans are irritated. It's for all the Mkhitaryan fanboys and girls, it's not because we don't like Mkhitaryan, it's because he symbolises an obstruction to this deal that we want to see get done. And that's where it is. So yeah, it's hard to respect him if you are, irritated by it, but it's not necessarily his fault. He probably doesn't want to leave United. Why would you want to leave United? He knows he's messed up a massive opportunity, and he won't want to go. And in a way, you've got to respect him for that he doesn't want to leave our club. On the other side, life's tough, and if you're not good enough, you get shipped out, don't you? And he hasn't been good enough this season, and I don't think he was particularly good enough last season. And I think all those people on Twitter who are saying show respect to Mkhitaryan, if it wasn't for him we wouldn't have won the Europa League. I mean, are we just supported by FIFA fans now? FIFA 18 or whatever? I mean, come on. We didn't win the Europa League because of Mkhitaryan. He scored a goal in a match. Fellaini scored a goal in the semi-final. It wasn't because of them we won the Europa League. They were a contributor. They were part of the team. But there was many games, many performances. And just because you score a goal doesn't mean that you were the reason we won the Europa League. His form at Manchester United, in general, has been below par. And you know what? As a football club who wants to finish top, and we haven't been anywhere near it for a long time, we do need to be ruthless and we need to respect that. So, moving Mkhitaryan on, I haven't got a problem with. I haven't really got a problem with Manchester United. I mean, if Arsenal are... what I have a problem with is that Arsenal are bloody dictating this deal. And we should be dictating the deal. We should have got this over the line, and we haven't. Ollie Mav16 says 619 says people who are saying Mkhitaryan is class clearly don't watch Manchester United play very often. Well, there could be that. Not everyone gets to watch every game. Blake Sullivan says, I'm not going to lie, even if he signs now, it's a bit boring. They dragged it out too much. This isn't Real Madrid. That's the risk, I think if he'd signed on Monday, there would have been a week of absolute joy, and we would have been battering City, everybody else, and it would have been great, and we would have enjoyed it. But it's dragged on so much. We're sort of starting to take a bit of stick ourselves now as to how long it's taken. Prince Nishi, your words on Mkhitaryan and Fellaini are so bitter. They scored and made us win. I think I've read your comment out because I think that is ridiculously disrespectful to every single player who was part of that Europa League run. If you genuinely think Mkhitaryan and Fellaini are the reasons we won the Europa League, I think that's an appalling statement. So you can call me bitter, but I think that's appalling and really disrespectful to loads of players who were part of that Europa League success. And the reason we won it actually was Jose Mourinho. That's why we won it. If United wanted him that bad, they should just pay 30 million simple, says Tony. I think if it was just a money deal, the deal would have been over the line a long time ago. The problem with the deal is that what if Arsenal have said, we don't want money, we want a player? I don't really want to be critical of Manchester United on this. I just think it's unfortunate how the deal has turned out, that we are now basically bending over waiting for Arsenal. And I guarantee you what will happen is will announce Sanchez and they'll announce Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang, because it makes them look good. Well, we've got 2, you've got 1. They're playing their fans, but they've been playing their fans for a long time. Michael Van Gerwen, interesting. He says, who cares how long it takes? Stop being spoiled little kids. There are people like that. I think that there are people like that, yeah. And I think he will sign. He will sign. I think my frustration with it is that I think we needed him for Burnley tomorrow. And if we don't beat Burnley tomorrow, we know exactly what's going to happen, don't we? There's going to be a lot of people saying we needed him and we should have had him. But we don't know the complexities of the deal. I think Arsenal are being given too much power in this deal. That's the problem. When ultimately they have very little power. You know, he goes for free in May. They should be happy for what they get. 12 million plus Alexis Sanchez is about 42 million pounds. He's not worth 42 million pounds with 4 months left on his contract. He isn't. So if United are having to play hardball on it, then that could be a reason why it's dragging out. But, you know, we shouldn't get bent over by Arsenal. No, we shouldn't give him 12 million in Mkhitaryan because that is too much money. Because in today, you know, we paid 25 million pounds for Mkhitaryan 2 years ago, but in the modern market, prices have gone up. So you could say Mkhitaryan's worth 30 million now, which is what I've just said. 30 million plus 12 million is 42 million. So I don't agree with that. Remember to drop a like on the video, everybody. I know people get frustrated that the deal's not happening, but it's not our fault on the United Stand. We are a United Stand community collectively. If you don't want us to go live and talk about Manchester United news, then we won't do it. But dislikes are rather disrespectful when we're a community together talking about stuff. So please do like the videos if you appreciate the community of the United Stand. Of course, we might have 45 Arsenal fans. Ewan Hacking, I agree with you. Arsenal are waiting to show off 2 signings to show that they're a bigger club, which clearly they're not. I think Aubameyang is a good signing. Mkhitaryan's a United reject. Whatever you think about Mkhitaryan, and I don't really have any bad feelings towards him and I wish him well, the reality is he's leaving United because he's not good enough. That is a reject. That's what Arsenal are buying. It's like Danny Welbeck. They're getting a player we don't want anymore. It's a reject. I don't like calling Mkhitaryan a reject, by the way, but it's more to wind Arsenal fans up. But he is. He is. Mickey isn't wanted here, so why doesn't he go? Says Pure Techers. I think his position... Well, what if Mkhitaryan says... what if Mkhitaryan says... sorry, what if Mourinho says at 1:30 Mkhitaryan's playing tomorrow? He can't play tomorrow. Injury. Same for Sanchez against Crystal Palace for Arsenal. Wenger hinted at it yesterday. I mean, I think we've got a really interesting 24 hours ahead of us. Part of me hopes that the deal gets done tonight because then, yes, they don't get to play at the weekend, but they can sit in the ground and then they're ready for the FA Cup game for us, not for Arsenal. You're out. But if the deal's not done before the matches tomorrow, then technically they could play in them games. And if they play in them games, what does that say about the fragility of the deal? I saw a comment there. It could still happen tonight. It could. Lynn Hall's a big fan of Mkhitaryan. I've read a lot of your comments today, Lynn. I don't agree with any of them. Nikosi Maki says lots of L's coming our way. Do I look like somebody who is in any way stressed or concerned about L's? Look, Alexis Sanchez, Manchester United, the deal was agreed last week. If it will happen. I don't even want to say if it doesn't happen. It will happen, but if it doesn't happen, it's because of what's happened in the last 5 days, not because of what Sanchez and United have agreed. And it may have to get put back till May. I like that. It may have to get put back till May. If it falls apart because of Mkhitaryan and Arsenal. It doesn't fall apart because Sanchez and United haven't agreed a deal. So, you know, but I'm not even saying that because it will still happen. No deal expected today, according to many sources, says Chris Hill 44. Martial to Arsenal, sit down. When is the press conference? The press conference is in about an hour's time. Okay, right. Thanks everybody for watching. The next planned video is 8 o'clock tonight. And we will be doing the preview for Burnley then. I was hoping that the preview tonight was going to include where Sanchez will play, and I've got my video ready for you as to where Sanchez will play for Manchester United. I've got that already, I think you do look a bit of a clown if you've done a video on where Sanchez plays for Manchester United before he's actually signed. But I've kept that back anyway because it's my little present for when he does sign. For all those people who are saying the deal isn't happening, calm yourselves down. I mean, realistically, I saw Carrick fan on Twitter today having a meltdown about it. Calm yourselves down. There's nothing to suggest the deal's not going to happen. It's just taking time. It's really over the top reaction to start saying it's not going to happen. I agree that the excitement is disappearing. I agree that we're giving Arsenal too much power in this deal. But ultimately, Sanchez wants to come to United and United wants Sanchez, and that is the constant. And it will take, maybe it's going to take time. I've never said when he's going to sign. I've said it's logical that he'll sign before midday today, but that's past. When he signs, he signs. Could be over the weekend, could be tonight, could be next week. The reality is, once he's not playing against Burnley, is there really any rush? Do we need him for Yeovil next Friday? You know, so maybe we're in for a long game now. But he will sign. Don't worry about it. Just calm yourselves down. We'll be back later at 8 o'clock and we'll be previewing the Burnley game. And if anything happens in between then, obviously we will react. Do keep an eye out for Jose Mourinho's press conference at 1:30. We'll be tweeting out on @UnitedStandMUFC. And obviously if anything major comes from it, we will go live. But I'm not expecting anything other than the deal can still happen. The deal still can't happen. Mkhitaryan could feature tomorrow. And I think that they'll be the headlines from Mourinho. Thanks everybody. We do need him for Spurs, Chris Sparks. Thanks everyone who's watched today. Please do smash the like button and remember to subscribe if you're new. As Matthew said, until we hit 180,000 subscribers, I guarantee Sanchez won't sign. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all in a bit.